the blood that sets me free. Strip me of my filth, redeemed, cleansed, blessed, and sealed by the power of the blood that flowed free from the cross. I am healed by the blood. I'm healed. I'm healed. I declare healing by the blood of Jesus. By the blood I'm healed. I'm free. I declare healing by the blood of the Lamb. Help me sing it. The blood that sets me free. Washed away my sin. Washed away my sin. Redeemed, cleansed, blessed, and sealed by the power of the blood that flowed free from the cross. I am healed. I am healed by the blood. By the blood, I'm healed. I'm healed. I declare healing by the blood of Jesus. By the blood of Jesus. I'm healed, I'm free, and I declare healing by the blood of the Lamb. By the blood of the Lamb. By the blood, I'm healed, I'm healed, I'm healed. I declare healing by the blood of Jesus. By the blood of Jesus. By the blood, I'm healed, I'm free, and I'm free. I declare healing by the blood of the Lamb. By the blood of the Lamb, I'm healed to proclaim the power that sets me free. You say, by the blood of the Lamb, I'm healed to proclaim the power that sets me free. Blood of the Lamb, the blood of the Lamb, the blood of the Lamb, the blood of the Lamb, sing. The blood of the Lamb washed my sin, set me free. Speaks victory, seals and heals, create a new and living way. The blood of the Lamb, the blood of the Lamb.
Does your business, alumni, charity, or church receive payments from abroad? As you know, receiving bill payments, membership dues, and donations from abroad can be very expensive and frustrating. Matching incoming payments to the sender can be tedious. Transfers are returned due to incorrect payment information. Transfers take ages to arrive, and when they do, reconciliation is a nightmare. Worry no more. Say hello to PayAngel. Regulated and licensed to operate throughout Europe and Canada, PayAngel is Africa's fastest growing remittance company. PayAngel is trusted. Now, we're offering you and your organization a hassle-free and no-cost way of receiving payments from abroad. With a 3-minute sign-up process, you can receive all kinds of payments, including mortgage payments, insurance premiums, fees, donations, and dues, at no cost to you or the sender. Receive instant transaction notifications on your phone and via email. Receive funds in your account within 24 hours and track, review, and download transactions in Excel for your accounting. Sign up today and give your customers or members the chance to send money to you free of charge and, importantly, without any hassle. How? Log on to payangel.com/partner and sign up. Then, add your bank account or mobile money wallet details. That's it. Now your customers can easily make payments to you using PayAngel without the hassle of trying to find or remember your payment account details. Join the PayAngel Partner Program now and find out why we are Africa's payment expert. For more information, email marketing@payangel.com or call +233 540 126 342 or +447 55 155 0002.
Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name.
are you there? Did you know that a lot of people spend time on social media these days? We are seeing. Hello, are you there? Did you know that a lot of people spend time on social media these days? We are seeing a free and kind of copy Kumasi or Boise Tamale Takra de Takwa, Kofodia Hosunyane, Cape Coast, and even Europe, America, Asia, any Antarctica. And until the Kaya market, Ebrewo, Ane a Kaya market, where your online marketing, digital social media marketing, a Juma Bena Woye, and Yama Bena Woton, Kaya market, Ebeba, when China Wabetrin Komo, ye baby our customers said you were Jumatie, ye industry expert in swat to chew a Juma home Komo, ye we are near Twapete, internet is so, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, social media marketing, a fast, a easy, resource and kwa. Kaya market was 0207 150 150. Kaya market, a Juma Kwaswankwa.
Hi, hello, welcome to the program. Today's edition of Chat with Daniel Dadson. I'm so excited if you have just joined, or if today is your first time of joining. Chat with Daniel Dadson comes your way live on Facebook and YouTube every Sunday. So depending on the time of the day that my guests are available, yes, actually, I need to always tailor the program most of the time to suit the availability of my guests. But generally, it comes your way 4 p.m. Ghana time or 5 p.m. UK time. And occasionally we'll do 3 p.m. Ghana time and 4 UK time. But hopefully the time is synced very soon and we will all be on the same time length. All right, welcome to the program. Welcome to the chat. And as usual, I am very, very, very excited to have you. Today is a wonderful topic, and it's a bit away from the general focus and profile interviews or profile conversation that I will have with my musician guest and getting to know their ministry, their journey, and all the kind of thing. But today we are looking at the dynamics of leading a music ministry, the dynamics of leading a music ministry. And by God's grace, I have some friends who are astute, some friends who have been there, they've seen this and they've done it, and they are still doing it for the Lord. So they will give me some insight, and I'm sure these insights that they bring will also be a blessing to you. Now, what I want you to do for me is to share the stream and make sure that someone who needs to hear this and be blessed will do so. Okay, so share it across all your contacts on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Instagram. Tag someone and let's all get talking. Now, you have the chance always to be a part of the program. You can share your comments with me, and my guests will be reading them and also commenting, or if there are questions, they will be answering them right here on Chat with Daniel Dadson. So I'm just going to get ready now and bring my guest on screen. Now, today I have 4 gentlemen that I've known for a while now, and these guys are loaded. When I say they are loaded, they are really, really loaded, and they know their stuff. So I have I think all of them are Osofos, all of them are pastors. So I have Osofo Frederick Ofori-Mensah from Maker's House. He's the president of the Maker's House Music Ministry. And I have Osofo George Mbeah Mensah. Now, George is a big man. George is across TBC Ghana and TBC UK. I think across the TBC churches, George Mbeah Mensah is the music director. He's been doing this for quite a while now. Now, Dave Jloopz, he's a very, very known name when it comes to the music circles. When it comes to music in the especially contemporary music within the Ghana gospel space. He's worked with notable artists, ranging from international artists like Alvin Slaughter. He's worked with international artists Michael Stampley, a couple of them, and he's worked with Joe Metal. He's worked with I mean, name them, almost all the top musicians in the Ghana music space. Dave has worked with them. He also manages an interdenominational music group, very successful one, Overflow. So he would be giving us some insight today. And last but not the least is my own brother and friend. This gentleman was my best man some years ago at my wedding, and I mean, we've been in the same place together. He was my music director way back in Takoradi when I used to play keyboards. I still do though. I still play keyboards, but just that I'm not as wild as Jloopz and a couple of the other guys. Yeah, so Stephen Owusu will also be joining me. So welcome to the program. If you are here, I can see Uncle Sydney Cranton, who has joined up here, Faye Martin, and a couple of you who have joined now. I would humbly ask, share the stream, and let's be let's just make sure that we are blessed. And like someone said on social media, that he is going to get his notebook and pen to make notes. Yes, so let's do that. Let me bring on my first guest, Mr. George Mbeah Mensah. Hey, officer.
Minister.
Officer,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I can hear you as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank
Great to have you.
Yeah. It's always a privilege, you know.
All right,
Just
I know.
hanging in here, yeah.
I think the last
Just
time
coming back,
we had a conversation or our interview was on ABN Radio a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I'm glad that by the power of technology, you are able to do this irrespective
Still
of
connected. Yeah.
Still connected. But how is Ghana though? How is Ghana?
Yeah. Yeah, we are hanging in here. Yeah, by grace we came and just trying to sink ourselves into the system back, you know.
I know, right?
So by the grace of God, we are just monitoring things in here, over here, and there. By the grace of God, yeah, everything is well, everything is fine. Thank you so much. Yeah.
I have Mr. Frederick Ofori-Mensah. He should be joining me shortly. Dave Jloopz, and then Steve would also be joining me. But officer, while we are here, let's start the conversation, and when the others come, we would.
Right.
I mean, you have been doing this for. Okay, let me bring Uncle Fred on. Uncle Fred is here. Hello, Uncle Fred.
Hey, how are you, Danny?
By God's grace, I'm well. And yourself?
Very well, thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great to have you on.
No, thanks for inviting me. It's such a privilege, sir.
I'm just excited that the knowledge that we shared today. Like somebody said that they have their pens and notebooks ready. So I'm sure it will be a blessing.
Well, I have mine ready too. So
I guess everyone.
You have an amazing group of guys on there, and I am ready to soak and learn.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think I would start, gentlemen. I would start from the very basic. When it comes to choirs and music in church, music outside church, I know there are varied opinions, varied theories, models, and all that kind of. But let me ask from the very first question, which is a very basic one. But is music even that important for ministry? If I should put it that way, is music that important when it comes to ministry in general, not just music ministry as a standalone? George, let me start with you, and I'll go to Uncle Fred.
Oh, my boss is around there. Why do you want to tempt me? see the gray hair. Huh? The boss is around. So why do you want to tempt? Well, let me give it a try anyway. But I think Musically, for me, I think musically a very important role in our church setting or in our ministry. There's a lot of cases, or there's a lot of situations that we've seen music become so vital, become so important, because kind of sort of brought tangible results in our settings or in our space. So for me, briefly, what I can say is that we can never have a worship service and not to think about music because of its tangible kind of results that it brings, to us. So for me, I think it's very, very important. Why not? Music is very, very key. Very, very important. Yeah.
And Fred, the reason why I asked this is because years ago, my music director, he shared a story with us, and he said that when he was like a lot younger, he remembers that there was a crusade, and what the preacher came to say. Actually, they were given a time to sing. He used to play the guitar and sing. And after him singing, I think his time was very short, but not to worry about it though. But when the preacher came on stage, what the preacher said was that if the musician is giving 10 minutes and the preacher is giving 10 minutes, who will win more souls?
Oh, Charlie.
You see, at that time, I think maybe there was little understanding as far as music was concerned. But thinking about it, it drives me to so ask that question: that is it even that important? I'm afraid.
Well, again, thanks, and George, please, I beg you. I'm not a musician. I am just still learning, and I watch all these fantastic guys around. So please, you're the bigger boss. I beg you. But the substantive. You only have to refer to Colossians 3:16, where the Bible clearly indicates and talks about the fact that we should let the word of Christ dwell within us, richly teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom, singing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs.
Right.
So as a part of our worship ceremony, I wouldn't want to start delving into, definitions of worship and all that stuff. But as part of our worship ceremony, when we get together as a congregation, I would definitely anchor the importance of music in our services and our congregational activities on this purpose. As to interpretations of it, and as you're saying, what this also told you years ago, I think it's all just down to understanding. And over the years, I don't know how many years ago he told you that, but I believe strongly he might have had he might have gone through repentance and a very solid change of mindset by now. You can't go without that element of congregational music, worship, and singing, and all that. I think the Bible clearly indicates that it's key to everything that we do in our services. So that would be my contribution to that, and say yes, it is key, and it is foundationally biblical.
Thank you very much. Stephen Owusu, let me bring. Hello, Steve. How are you, my brother?
I'm fine, and good evening, everybody.
Great to have you on. Welcome.
Good evening to all the bosses.
Yes, bro.
Right. So the next thing that I want us to establish is, especially when it comes to growing churches, there is that challenge as to where the church is focused on. Should we focus on a lot of evangelism? Should we focus on building a music department? Should we focus on administration and structure for all of you as music directors, and you've been doing this and leading music teams for quite a while now. How important would you say the department, the music department, is for a music ministry this time, like maybe a growing music ministry? How important is it to build a music department right from the onset? Steve-O, you've just joined us, so let me come to you.
Well, music is a fundamental, one of the basic things every church must have. It is so important that if you don't take care and your music is very bad in church, people come to church. That sometimes you realize that people come to church, and then they will tell you that, oh, if I've not come to church, I would have really missed a lot because of the music that you just. Sometimes that's why we have different segments of the service. We have the music, the praise and worship, the song ministration, and then the preaching. So every part is supposed to be designed in such a way that everything that somebody is doing, everything that any department is doing at every point in time is very important at that time. So somebody can be blessed during the song ministration, somebody can be blessed during praise and worship. So if your music department is very low in performance, if you don't take care, you might lose a lot of concentration. The time people come to church and they will tell you that, Charlie, I was blessed by administration. Sometimes it is the word that makes the impact, but sometimes it is the song ministration. So if your music department is very minimal in creating certain things that will help the church to grow, it really, really worries a lot. You get it?
Right. So Fred, let me ask you this. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to be part of maybe a startup ministry. And if in case you have, or maybe you have friends, pastors, music directors who have become part of a startup ministry, what would you say was the key things they established right from the onset as far as the music is concerned for such a church?
Right. Structure is important to any ministry setup, and it doesn't matter how big or small it is. You can always build on structure when there's something. When you have absolutely nothing in place, then it suffices to say, when you don't know where you're going, everywhere leads there. But as church leadership, it's important that you find somebody who knows what they're doing.
Okay.
And in consultation, come up with a structure. Nothing stops you from completely overhauling it or reviewing it or amending it at any point in time. But let that be the backbone of everything you're looking to do. Have a structure in place. It doesn't matter if you have 3, 4, 5 people in your team. Let there be a structure. It's have people being accountable for whatever they're doing. Have people being responsible. People you can call on to and ask what's going on, what's happening. Let somebody have a direction for the team, where we going, who decides on what, even basics of repertoire for Sunday service, who decides on what choir song is being rendered on the Sunday morning, all of those things. It's key that you have structure. And as I said, some might not be relevant if your church is pretty small, but as the church grows, you can always build on that. But the culture of having a structure in place is absolutely essential. Absolutely essential.
Wow, that's awesome. Let me bring Jloopz on. Hello, Jloopz.
Hello.
Hello, my brother. Thanks very much for taking time out. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
By God's grace, we are well. Very, 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 very well. Good. Okay, right. I wanted to ask something, but let me go to this one. So, you've spoken about structure. You have emphasized how important it is. Now, one thing that I have realized is that sometimes, and I'm trying to look at before
Wow, I can't. The line is breaking.
yeah, can you hear me? Hello, James, can you hear?
Should
Can you
I
hear
leave
me?
and come back? Because I can hear
All right.
anything.
Okay, try and
It's breaking.
reconnect and see if it will get better. Okay, reconnect and see. But I was trying to ask. I lost my trail of thoughts a bit, but let me just reframe. So you're talking about how important structure is, especially for a growing church like a new church. Now, one of the things that I realize is a struggle sometimes is the sort of model that churches should use. Now, I want you all to attempt this for me, because I know you have different systems, different structures. What are the different kinds of models that we have when it comes to the music department? George, please start this one for me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Before I talk about this model, I would wanted to build on what probably my bosses will be saying in terms of the model, because of my perspective or the understanding of what we call model in trying. But you see, you made a comment about a pastor who's trying to compare the word time and the music time. We need to understand that there is a place for everybody when we begin what we call a worship service.
Okay.
So there are certain spiritual truths or biblical truths, or even people get to recall, or there are certain scriptures or word that pops up even during ministration. And some of these things strengthen people when they go through difficulties. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it is high time we begin to engage people in a way that we build a congregation that doesn't only depend on pastors to heal, lay their hands on them, or determine the pace of the day, or how the life is going to be. But then to learn how to worship and praise in private to also get results. So it is not a place for us to measure who is impactful. Come on. Sometimes I also think that probably is the way that we have also delivered, because you dare not finish singing and then the pastor will come back and raise another song. Why? Because your tune didn't make or set the atmosphere right for the next stage to continue. So I think until we get to a place whereby there is what we call the balance and then a flow, or the kind of understanding, I'm not sure we're going to achieve more in ministry. I'm not sure a pastor would want to measure or argue who is much more impactful or who is much more relevant in terms of a worship service or anything. For me, I'm not sure that it is something that I would want to encourage or want us to dwell on or be happy about. Do you understand? So let's encourage people to be able to worship privately, but worship them. Have a sense of understanding in God's word, that even with the presence of a pastor or the absence of the pastor, I'm still capable. The word is in me. It's richly, the word is in me, and so I can also achieve results, whether it's a worship service or there's no worship service. Do you understand? So I think this is the simplest comment that I want to talk about when we want to talk about measuring who is impactful or who is not impactful in that wise. Well, that's my submission.
I think that this statement was, let's see, about 30 years ago. I'm sure that in we find ourselves now, things have changed. There's been a lot of a lot of developments. There's been a lot of knowledge has been gleaned over the years. People have become more appreciative of the impact that music makes when it comes to the church. So yeah, I like you were saying. I think now I'm not sure any pastor would want to make such a comment.
You know myself, we argue about some of these
I know,
comments
I know,
anytime we begin to meet.
yeah, I know that's let me come to you. I will come back, God. I'll come back to you for you to
Yeah.
speak to the kind of models for me, because sometimes churches struggle to um, determine, church leadership, as you say, struggle to determine, should we form a choir? Should we have a quartet? Should we do a soloist? Should we have a worship band? Should we do worship and choir, or should we do a soloist? And those kind of things. So what are the various models that are available that maybe a pastor listening to us can take some good knowledge away? Help us.
Well, it's all dependent on size. I mean, what do you call a choir? If you have 3 people in your music department, would you be considering a choir with that? I doubt it. So it's really what you have, and then that presents you the luxury of, the options you may consider. Speaking to what we have at church, we're lucky to have a separate praise and worship team, and then a choir. Now, funny enough, all the praise and worship team members are also in the choir.
Okay.
But then we do get to push them a bit extra, and prepare them, specially, for lack of a better description, to handle the repertoire that we're rendering for the worship service. But usually what happens after those individual rehearsals, we come together as a whole team, including the choir, and then we go through, a dress rehearsal. So everybody participates anyway. But if there are any technical areas we need to pay attention to, then that team would have been the ones who worked on it properly, as it were. And then, beyond that, do you, for instance, co-opt your sound team into the music department? Do you pull in light and multimedia into the department? All of that. I mean, we've had several debates at church. And so what we have now currently is a situation where, aside praise and worship and the choir and the band, our sound department is also, under the music ministry umbrella. And then we have a very decent relationship with the visuals. Okay, so sometimes some of them will come to our rehearsals if they need to pay attention to certain angles for production. We have that conversation. Once in a while, we get the lighting guys coming in, and then we kind of conversation around, oh, you know what? When you're leading, don't stand too far to the back. Stand here so we get better lighting on you, or all that. I mean, it's all teamwork. And so whichever model I believe works really is dependent on what you have available. And then you can always consult. In Ghana, we don't have, consultants in that regard when it comes to, some of these conversations.
Will the finance department be prepared to pay for consultants?
Well, that is another question. I know there's one guy in my church, and I know if I mention his name, everybody would know. Charlie, getting money from him is like, gosh, I mean, trying to go and poke the eyes of Satan himself. But it is for good reason anyway. But I mean, we all know the challenges that we have in our various churches trying to draw on budgets for things that we deem are important. Yeah. But I mean, bottom line, I think it's important. I mean, the vision that the pastor has for the church, and then the resources he has available, that would determine what structure I believe is workable.
Mm.
Yeah.
Steve-O, Stephen, you have had the chance of running a lot of different models. You have, I know that at Kings Temple, I don't know, the last time we spoke, you were starting an a cappella team, and you were even considering an all ladies a cappella, all guys a cappella, and a lot of different styles of music. So how would you consider, or what would you say to the model issue? What sort of model should the church be running from where you sit as a music director?
Seeing the whole set of music stuff. Like my church, for instance, my pastor is very much, if you remember, my pastor is very much involved in music. In fact, he sometimes he even tells you that it looks as if the key that you are singing is different from the key that is on the original CD. That's how bad sometimes. I don't know whether it's actually how good or bad it is. It's very much, but he has a say, and I don't have any problem with that thing. He has a say even with the kind of songs that you choose. So by Tuesday, I should be ready to tell him that there will be this kind of songs on Sunday. Then we have a music pastor. Okay, we have a music pastor, and the person like Pastor Fami, he oversees the whole music sector before it comes to me as a music director. So I basically handle all the technical stuff and all those things, and even shepherding the members of the music department. But sometimes you should have a music pastor who you at least you can forward certain issues to him, so that's what happens. And then under me we have the main choir called the King's Choir. We have fusion that I started like 15 years ago, 12 years ago, and then we have Glorious Carries, that is for ladies. And then we have the David and I'm, that's for just gentlemen. And then we have the praise team, all different sets of members. So we have the praise team, and then we have the hymnal team. Okay, and like my boss said,
7 or something like that. That's about 6, or is it 7 different groups?
Yes, 6. If you have the band rate, that is 7. The sound team is 8. 8 different segments in one music department. So I oversee all those people, but I have a music pastor. Okay, that there are issues that we have to handle. That you can go and tell him, and then we handle those issues. That's the kind of structure handle. Right. And then some churches to have the choir president or the music president. He handles the administrative side of the music department, and then we have the music director who handles the technical side of the. It happens in those campus ministries. The president and then the music director. It happens a lot, and some places even are using those kind of models now.
Right. Jloopz, can you hear me now? Are we connected properly now?
Yeah, you see, I'm trying to get to the best.
Get a space. Once you are on here, once you are on here, let's try and hear your voice.
Yes.
Now
I can hear you now.
Right, good. I'm sure you've heard the submissions. We are trying to decipher which model work, as far as the different types of ministries are concerned. From your perspective, do you think that when one person is in charge of everything, maybe is the president, is the technical music director, is the administrative head, and he is kind of like the final engineer, for the lack of a better word, between the church leadership and the whole music team? Do you think that is a good model when it comes to this church model thing, music model thing?
Well, I think I'm going to sound some way, but pardon me if I go a little bit overboard. I sincerely think that it depends on the personality. And recently, I've really done a lot of study, and I realized that the whole base of even selecting a music director is supposed to be somebody who is spiritually inclined first, like somebody who knows the Bible, understands, has a relationship with the Holy Spirit, and is a servant of God. If I say servant of God, it means somebody who has regular fellowship with the Holy Spirit. Then, so 50-50, then the technical as well. He should know his whereabouts in teaching and in interpreting everything musical. And so that is the basis for me in terms of who a full board music director is. But we find ourselves just looking out for the technical. So in a place where there's no music pastor, or where we have structures like that, he plays that role without any kind of fault, because he's done both sides to the best. And but technically or administratively, I feel that that might not be part of the standard of a music director. You need to get people to work for you, and I don't really believe in an executive system. Officer knows about it, I've said it, but I believe in putting people in office, and you hear from God, and you just dispatch the message, and they just follow up and just gather the crumbs and make things happen. But for me, I don't really do well when there are too many voices, because I always I just don't move, and there are so many things I might not be able to explain in a system where there are too many powers, like too many, you need to hit here, the person needs to understand what you mean by this before you move to the next level. It's work for me, and before I get to the end of the communication table, the whole inspiration might have faded off, the whole fire might fade off. So I try my possible best to be in line. Like, I didn't know this at first, but a music director doesn't have any excuse putting the technical more than his spiritual life. It's and the church should spend more time just auditioning that part of the music director, because it's very necessary. Because most of the things or most of the ideas that we bring out are not even from God. Most of the songs we even bring out are not the songs we are supposed to sing even for that Sunday. And the Spirit will not move, because if I just come with myself, like I heard a song, or my favorite song, I heard a chord that's beat for a progression, or some flip here, or some harmony here, that is self. So at the end of the day, it will not work, no matter how many people stand to worship, or how many people, it will not be from God. So I feel that basic part, fine, I don't have a problem with having a music pastor. It's fine, it's beautiful. But at the end of the day, the music director should also have that he should be precise in his spiritual life as well. The same way the technical is very important. And the other things like administration and things you can delegate. Of course, things need to run, and you need to pay attention to what God is saying to you and dispatch it to them. So you need all the time to study the word. You need all the time to score your harmonies. You need all the time to identify talents, look at people's strengths, weaknesses, put them together, and let the rest of the people do all those other jobs, like taking care of people, taking care of the organization and things. So that's my take. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much. I know there are a lot of questions are coming to mind, but let me try and move from this model and the role of the music director. I'm sure it will come along as we have we delve deeper into this conversation. But one important thing that I want to find out, and Mr. George, I'm coming to you first for this, is who makes it to the music department? I know it's who gets to be selected to the music department. Is it the person who is just gifted and can sing, or is it the person who has the time and can be dedicated to all the rehearsal slots, or is it the person that the pastor sees and say, "Oh, you have a nice voice. You look like you do well in the choir." who makes it to the music department? And
Right.
let's add the band because we're talking about the music department. I know it encompasses the band, the singers, and all the different teams. So, what's your take on it?
Oh, okay. Thank you. That's a very great question. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So before you even decide to make a move to join the music ministry, I think that there should be a place where you need to feel called or led to be moved to the place. You see,
Okay.
you don't even join. One of these days, I will share why people join choir, some of the reasons or motives why people join choir. I have some interesting reasons why people join choir. When I
I'm
begin
sure
to,
some of them. Sorry.
yeah,
You go.
I'll I'll share some of them with you. Why types of membership that we have. Some people come here, or some will say, I'm here to learn and later leave for my own thing. That's one group of people. They just come in here there to learn, and later I want to. I'm just here, see how things go, and then I'll just go on to do. The second type of people is that I'm here because I'm available now. I'm not busy. If I have less to do, and when I get busy, I'll leave. That's another set of people. Do you understand? The third type of people is that I'm here because I respect the anointing or the call of, let's say, Fred's life. I see Fred, ministering. I see there's a hand on him, and I'm attracted to that. So I respect that oil. So I want to be part of that. That's another category of people. The fourth group of people, I'm here because God asked me to go or move into it. And so my loyalty is only with God, not you. Now, the other group of people is that I believe in the type of vision of the church or the vision of the music department, of which probably somebody have shared with him or her. And so hence, I want to be part. The other type of people is that I'm here because it looks like the team is famous, the choir, yajidi, like popularity. So I want to also be associated with that kind of prestige, that kind of fame that you guys you've got. Another type of people, which probably the 7 or 8 is, I've seen my rep in there. I love the leader, or I'm affection, like some kind of emotions be so based on some kind of affections,
They are coming to those in the choir.
that is also another category of people. You understand? Another category of people. I'm here because I practically, personally, or in my private place, that's my gift and my talent. I enjoy what I do, so this is what I enjoy doing. So I want to be part of this. I think the final thing that I also jot down was that some people also join because they are lonely. They just want to belong to a team, a set of people who they can be recognized, feel part, that kind of we feeling. So loneliness can also bring some people into that space. But I want to share this thing. There are 4 voices that will help you into making the decision of stepping up to join. The voice of the spirit, which is the inner voice. God, we are spirits, so there is a spirit that attests with our spirit, that connects with our spirit, that will tell you what to do. If you are called, God will tell you what to do, your assignment, where you have to belong, whether you have to be with the transport ministry.
Oh dear, I've lost George there. Yeah.
Pastor,
Hello, George.
Pastor K is calling me. Pastor K is calling me. It's so interesting. He's calling me. I just don't know what.
Okay,
but you let me finish. I just drop his line. Just drop his line. I'll call him. Yeah. So right. That's the voice of the spirit. There is also the voice of opportunity. When you are called, when there is also a voice that will tell you that this is an opportunity. You enter into a church, you realize that there's a small church or a beginning church, or there are space, there are room for people to serve, or the opportunity. Even in mega churches, there are still room for people to serve. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's also another voice that is called common sense. You realize, or that this is what my strength is or my capabilities. your common sense should tell you that this is what I'm capable of trying to do. The fourth voice is what we call the voice of trusted friends. The right friend will tell you, what you can also do, or some let me give an example, like Paul and Timothy. You understand, a musician, and then your best friend is a carpenter. You see, sometimes the languages are some way, somehow, you understand. But a musician, having that kind of close sharing your life with the same person in ministry. For me, I share most of my time with Minister Albert, and you know him. So most of our conversations, most of our family life discussions, most of our struggles are still lingering into what we call the ministry. But this is it. So let's assume that you've had the conviction, or it's settled that you are called for this. You ask the question that what guarantees somebody to be part of the music ministry. For me, I'm looking at 5 things. Maybe I can just share some few, and then I'll leave it for my boss, the one with the gray hair, to just sort me out and then settle everything. Yeah, I'm looking at the first thing I'm looking at is faithfulness. You would ask that how do we measure faithfulness if somebody needs to join the music ministry, let's say the worship and praise team, the choir, or the music department. Faithfulness, is a very, very important aspect. And then I'm not looking at faithfulness in terms of keeping up, or keeping on doing it, or showing up on time, and all of it. They are very, very key. But you see, faithfulness, I think that we should go to that extent of during that moment of I believe, and I want to belong, and then I want to behave like you. During that kind of premises of somebody taking that initiative from, okay, I've made a decision and I want to join. During that space, that faithfulness aspect, I think that it could be pulled out, or it could be extracted based on what we call relationship from you, the leader, and the person. So the conversations that you keep on, this is I got some kind of interesting questions. Like, you can just engage the person. How have your experience with God? When God wants to put you in charge of the many, how do you intend to handle those things? What is your perspective about your gift? How do you see your gift, or what God has entrusted into your hands? What kind of work ethics do you observe, and all that? Do you see growth in your ministry? All this kind of conversation will help you to understand the originality. You understand the authenticity of the person's, or the capacity of who the person really is. And that is and faithfulness. I want you to understand that there is also connected to stewardship. Do you understand? So first thing is about faithfulness. The next thing I'm looking at is, if somebody wants to join a choir, is that the person needs to support the vision. And what do I mean by that? Vision of the church and vision of the department. The church's vision, and then the vision of what? The worship team, or the choir's vision. You need to believe, as you're sitting in the pews, you need to believe in us. You need to believe in what the church is, believe in Jesus. Look, that's why I'm saying that we are reading most of the choristers. A chorister is singing about Jesus, but the Jesus that I'm teaching him or her, he's already had his own Jesus in the house before joining the choir. So there should be a place whereby people are really taught from the basics, and pretty much engaged before they are put into the place of joining the praise and worship team. The next thing is that the person should be a worshiper. I'm not going to delve so deeply into that. That kind of being in a place, having that kind of the private worship that manifests in the into the public worship. People should be worshippers in their own right. So that's why I always have this argument with some people like you, that we don't have a worship leader, but probably we should be starting talking about a lead worshiper, not a way, because the moment it becomes a title, then the debate will start. Then I will be at a place to start a debate. You understand? The next thing I'm looking at is the person should have some sense of musicianship. The other level of qualification is that there should be what we call beats or rhythm, beats. you know, there should be beat in you. You should have some basic, these are basic, you should have some kind of rhythm or beat in you. And then the final place is what we call experience. And this, I'm looking at your spiritual experience and then your technical experience. If I have time, I want to go into yours, but then I'm looking at your experience. I'm looking at your a bit of rhythm, your musicianship, being a worshiper, you supporting the vision of the church, and then being a faithful person. Because what you are coming into it, we are looking for people who are faithful,
Right.
who
Right.
we can really trust. Yeah.
I mean, you've shared a lot. Thank you very much. You've shared a lot of dimensions.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. If you can you hear me as well?
I can hear anything.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me? Are you able to hear me? I'm not too sure why George can't hear me, but can everyone else hear me though?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, right. So
I can hear you.
Good. George has said a lot as far as the qualifying criteria. But from what that George is saying, I see it as an introspective criteria, or the sort of self-evaluation that the person should have before he even makes an attempt to join the choir. But what I really want to find out, I mean, from all of you who are music presidents and music directors here, is what's the gatekeeping procedure? Who would be able to come through the door, and who would be, or who would not be able to come through the door? Fred, let me come to you for this one, and yeah, help me, and I'll go to Stephen and Jloopz for it as well.
Okay, so we have a two-tiered system where we throw an invitation out to everybody who thinks they have an inclination to be part of the church's music ministry. And we run an orientation program for about a month, where we take them through our policy manual, which clearly talks about, what our expectations are, and everything from our spiritual expectation and standards, and all the way down to uniforms and disciplinary matters. So we really dive them and give them an immersion of all of that for a complete month. Mind you, everything we do, whatever policy manuals, everything we try to implement, is completely submerged in the church's broader agenda. So for anybody to be part of any ministry in the church has its own standards, and that's what we go by. That's what we take our, and that's where we take our cue from. Okay. So after the 1 month orientation program, then we do the technical evaluation, where we have a panel to audition, and the people auditioning are from all areas of the department. So some looking out for, purely technical, some looking out for attitudinal, inconsistencies, if any. After which we have an interview and engage and talk, and that's where we explore further spiritual background, expectations, and all those things. And, the team, per their scoring and all that, decides to let this person in or not. Most often, we do get about 90 to 95% of the people we audition coming through. I know as a church body, there's a lot of emphasis on, spiritual, standards and all those things of these people coming in. But I, haven't been around this thing for a while. I'm changing my stance on a lot of things. Okay. Look, if you have a team that's been running, and somebody can come from outside and be a gossip and thrive in the team, then your team has a major problem. It's fundamentally flawed. You know what? Disband it and start all over again.
Wow.
I believe that wherever people are coming from with the experiences and the exposure, they should be able to come in. Of course, minimum standards, having gone through whatever filters and all those things, they should be able to come in and whatever negative traits they have in them still, by virtue of the fact that they are associated with a team, those things should visibly be washed out.
Right.
You know, so nowadays, honestly, I don't overly emphasize. You know, of course, it's critical, it's key, but I don't sit there with some spiritual barometer, you know, and test people on how many memory verses they know and all that stuff. I mean, it's honestly, I mean, somebody can give you, you know, 50 Bible quotations off the cuff and be terrible with bad attitude, you know, and come in and cause mayhem. So there are so many areas that we look at, you know, and then of course, I mean, we're talking about just voluntary, but we also have paid staff. You know, some of our musicians are taken care of and put on some kind of an allowance and things like that. And with that, we're able to push the envelope further and get very technical with some of our requirements and all those things. So honestly, the whole process, I mean, is not up to a music president alone. There's a whole committee that is set up to look at all of those things. We throw the invitation out to the entire congregation who would have had to go through basic discipleship programs in the church and all that stuff before even being considered to be part of an orientation program, and then eventually an audition to decide whether you can be part or not. So it's quite rigorous, but I mean, in the simplified way, that's what I can say. And we look at all aspects as best as we can, basically.
That's very interesting, and like you shared, thank you very much for that. It's an in-depth, like you said, very rigorous system, and I think it also depends on how large the ministry is, because I've had the opportunity to sit and then you hear a pastor make an announcement, or not even make an announcement. They will literally point out, "Hey, you, Owusu Mensah, I just next week you are singing in the choir. We got music director. Make sure these people are coming for rehearsal. Make sure that they are singing on Sunday." So, look, Sivo, you, I've seen you done. You know, I've worked with you and I've seen you down these recruitments and stuff. What are the filters that you personally apply when it comes to somebody getting into all the music teams that you currently oversee at Kings Temple?
Okay, what happens is that recruitment is very important, and then if you undermine it, if you don't take those, there's going to be a big problem in the future. For instance, somebody is coming into the choir or maybe the praise team or anything. What happens is that the first, like my boss Frederick said, there's going to be an announcement in church.
Okay.
And then sometimes you have as much as 100 people wanting to apply for the music department. And then sometimes you can have 2 different sets of auditions just to listen to all of them. And the first I do is that we group them and then we talk to them about the expectations, what goes into the music department. And sometimes after they listen to the level of rehearsals and all those things, that the commitment that they are supposed to give when they become a member. So interestingly, the members think that when you join the music department, also they could not stage no, they just see those things as enjoyment. And later on, they realize that when they realize that the thing involves a lot of work, then they will have to go back home and everything. So sometimes 100 people want to apply. When it's people do the first part of the orientation, realize that it's left about 40. Then we can take them one by one, and then we interview them, find out about their background side of music, what they have done before, and then before you can go through their technical stuff, whether they can be able to understand music, their oral perception, if you play a note for them to be able to sing the note back to you. Because sometimes you pick at somebody, the person comes to join the music department saying, oh, it's a dog, and you like somebody like that. Quickly you know that challenge, you have to go and join the intercessory department. So before you was about me. Come again, Danny.
I said the intercessors will not be happy with you, you know.
Yeah, so have to recruitment before. So the number of people that to qualify to the technical part of the recruitment will go through orientation. Now that's the proper orientation. Okay, and then we also ask questions like, how are they going to fund their uniforms? Because sometimes sometimes if the person is not working, it's very difficult for the person to, because some people are in two groups in my church, for instance. You have to buy the uniforms for all the two groups. Sometimes it becomes very difficult. You have to find out how the person will fund all those things. That transportation stuff, you have to find out. So that if there is any help, we can also. People are very talented, but maybe they don't have the means, and we can find ways and means to help out. So all those things, we do that in the recruitment process before they have to go through the orientation 2 months. Then I will have the opportunity to train them personally, and then I decide on which group they can join.
Right.
Before they finally join the groups.
Right.
That's what.
Right.
And even after they join the groups, they have to sit back at 1 month to observe the group that they have joined to. Because if you are not well prepared and you join the group, like if you join like Fusion, and then you are not really prepared, they will intimidate you. If you don't take it, they will intimidate you. The thing is, that's where we realize that might be the. So you have to really prepare yourself, with them to the orientation, know whatever you're supposed to know. You actually join the main team, so that you can just get into it straightforward without any problem.
Okay. Jloopz, let me come to you. I know that you have successfully run an interdenominational choir or music group for so many years, and you've worked with high-level and high-profile artists. Talk me through how different is the church recruitment experience from an interdenominational recruitment experience, and what are the filters that you applied or that your team applied to make sure that you get exactly what you want, considering the fact that you are coming from a lot of different churches?
Okay, so
yeah, Luke, can you shift yourself because there's so much light from your end? Can you?
The glory of God.
I can't even see your face. What is wrong with you, my brother? We want to see your face. We want to see your face.
Okay,
I think your position. Yeah, if you can shut the.
Okay. Are you fine now?
Yes, that is perfect.
Yeah, better. Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't even do the right thing. My papa, Dr. Fred. It's been a while. I salute. We go way back. And of course, the music director of the Western Coast. Like when you get into that coast, you need to bow and show allegiance. And Mr. Stephen, can I salute? And of course, George handed over everything, his mantle to him. So I'm more like an Elisha, and I thank him as well for. Okay, so with the church, it's very different because they tell you a church is a hub for sinners, and that's where sinners are supposed to come. And so it means that if that's the philosophy of the church, it means that for a choir, you just have to allow everyone to come. You, in your mind, you are going to work on them spiritually, and you're going to work on them vocally. You don't have any pressure to get people to a perfect point. You get, so it's work in progress every day. But in a group like Overflow, the hallmark is I raised the standard because I had a target, and the target wasn't to now teach people how to sing. I didn't have the time to teach people how to sing or get people to now learn the beginner's point of view. So I had to start from, of course, auditioning. So, and the auditionings are very high because I expect you to understand principles. I expect you to already know how to use your head voice, your chest voice, to do all the things. You should know how to score harmonies to that extent. You should know how to do all the intermediate things based on music. And so it's really, really hard. When you come in, I check your background, the people you've worked with. If you haven't worked with anybody, you're already falling below par because I see you to be very inexperienced. And
Okay.
that fact, we've always had troubles with people who always come in as that was the standard, and that was the problem. It's now that I've tried to allow people, because through that system, I used one lady as a preamble. She's called Letitia, and she came in, and the music directors and everybody said, "Nah, we shouldn't allow her." And I said, "Okay, let me just use to see if the good people in the group would have an effect on her." And trust me, 3 years down the line, she's even sounding better than all the gurus that we had in there. And so I tried to amend the policies more. So now you should just have a good voice, a good tone. You should have a good tone. You should understand something. You shouldn't know everything, but spiritually you should be sound as well, because we take you through a spiritual class. I've found delegated it to a pastor who does it for Overflow. Then the rest is, but the standard is very, very high. So we can have an audition of 200 people and take only 2 people. Okay, that's the standard. Everybody respects it because, yes, we take 2, or sometimes we don't take anybody. And it's not like I'm doing too long, but that's the standard. And that, yeah.
Hold on, before you continue from there. So how do you explain or deal with those who don't make your cut? What do you tell them?
Okay, so I tell you, because I just tell you that you didn't. That's not what I'm looking for, and no matter how good you thought you were, this is not what I'm looking for. And I don't report to anybody. You see, that's the difference. I don't report to anybody, so I take my own decisions. I know what I want. I was in my room with God alone. You are not there. So I know what I want alone. So if I say it, you can go and talk about me, but at the end of the day, it's still me. But with church, you can't do that in church. You can't. The best thing you can do is, I believe in education. I believe in, so as soon as I get to any church and I'm supposed to do a development, I put up a development plan. I try to get everyone. I don't audition. My audition is rather another way of getting to know everyone vocally. I write for everybody. I have a report on everybody. Your short-term plan, your long-term plan, things you can do, how long you can sustain your notes, your tone, the color of your tone, every information about you musically. And I channel it, and I send you feedback on what I think you can do as a singer and what I can also do to help you. So in the short term and in the long term, at the end of the day, I can't get if the window is open for people to come in a choir in church, there's an announcement that's been given. It's I needed the people because the pastor is giving me a target of 100 people or 50 people to be on that stage. He's the visionary. He knows how he wants his church to go. I need to abide on it. The best I can do for you is to train you and to put you there if you avail yourself to be there. So that's so I don't audition. I rather put up plans to improve on anything I get in any way possible. I believe that everyone can improve if you put your head to it. Yeah.
Okay, that's quite that's quite in depth and concise. So thanks for that. So let me ask this, and I want everyone to give me just a quick answer to it. So, with all that has been said, if we consider skill, if we consider the talent if we consider the level of spirituality and if we consider the knowledge that the person may have musically, which one would be the standout, or which one would be the main criteria that maybe any one of you will look at? Uncle Fred.
Wow, that's a difficult one. That's a very, very difficult one. You can't scale it, Daniel. I'll be very honest with you.
Okay.
I think decent balance does it any day, anytime.
Right.
But primarily, we're a spiritual team. Primarily. So if I'm pushed to the wall, then I would say, that really should pick the mark above everything else. Okay. But I would say a decent balance is key. If we were to choose anything at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uncle George. Which
yes,
one?
sir.
Which one will make them pick you, or you also agree that a balance is fine? If you are pushed to the wall, like Uncle Fred, just decided to go to the wall.
If you push me to the wall, I'll still come back. I think I want to support my bosses. Try say is a spiritual exercise that we are undertaking, and we download from a source. You understand? You connect from a source. So I'm so it's so interesting when you see artists. Sometimes I'm watching TV and I'm looking at artists. Charlie, they are interviewing the person, and Charlie, we'll release this song at you. Charlie, see. Oh, don't worry, man. 2 weeks maybe the new banger, but for those kind of thing. And one time I was listening to my distant mentor. He made a very profound statement, and it stuck with me until now. He was talking about one of his songs, and he said that God borrowed me a song. That statement alone, God borrowed me a song. It places me it brings me back to a place of connectivity, connecting. What we are doing has much to do with transforming lives. You understand? Making discipleship, reaching out to people and all that. So if you're not spiritually inclined, how do you even get the right song? How do you even learn to relate with other people in the team? How do you even learn? All these things are you only can download from a source that can teach you into doing the right thing. So I think that when you are spiritually pole positioned well, you can operate right. So I think spirituality it's paramount.
You place spirituality first. What would you say? Spirituality, knowledge, skill, talent.
I believe, like they said, like there should be a balance. You see, I'm talking about spirituality first. The difference between Christian musicians and then Western dynamos, for instance, is that it's not just the skill. Yes, at the end of the day, the glory of the Lord should be seen. So if I'm picking somebody in my choir, for instance, I make sure that at least the background spiritually is okay. Because if you give a microphone to somebody who doesn't have any knowledge in scripture, how will it become a problem? How will it become a problem? So the person should at least have a background in spirituality and have a personal relationship with the Holy Spirit, because we are different. We are not like, because when you go to the secular music, there's those secular musicians, some of them have the skill equal. So it's not just about the skill, it's about the way you prepare yourself to impact the people. So those backgrounds are extremely important. And then at least the person should have all perception. Because you can't see that you can in our settings, like not like my brother Dave Jloopz said, like he's looking for something different, because it's not a church setting. Because he's making the best and then putting them together, but the church setting is far different. I get to my point. So you have to get those Ngumu level people and then bring them on board, and then at least make sure the person should have at least oral perception. oral perception. At least when you play a do, the person should be able to interpret that this is a do. I'm not saying the person should be able to say this is a do. Like, yes. So if it's do, say do. I am. So that's one. If you are teaching tenor becomes a problem, that is soprano. So the oral perception should be good. At least the person should be able to interpret the songs or the notes that you'll be teaching during rehearsal, and then you can build it from there. Like our brother said, you can't get the perfect thing. You can't get the perfect person to come into church or to a choir. Okay, so you have to look at the balance between the spirituality and the technicality as well. It is truth and spirit. Where do you understand?
Truth and spirit. Truth and spirit. I want us to move on quickly, just because of time. There are a couple of things, very important things I want us to look at. If you are watching us, thank you very much for joining. I can see all your comments at this point. If you have any questions, just pop them in the comment section. If you are on YouTube, you can do so. If you're on Facebook, you can do that, and then we'll pick them up. I'll try to get my guest to attempt an answer for you. And if there is anything that you want to share as well in relation to what we are discussing, you are also welcome to contribute. But more importantly, try and share the stream and let someone be blessed, because I'm sure that a lot of people who may be watching us who work in this space, music, you are a church leader, a church deacon, you need these information that's being shared right now. Jloopz, I'm going to start with you on this one. You can touch on you can touch on your this thing, your preference as far as the scale, the decision that the skill, spirituality, and those things are concerned. But I want us to marry these two phenomenon. Now, sometimes within the music team, whether it's the worship team, the band, the singers, there is what I call the big brother or the elder brother syndrome, where you have a new kid on the block, perhaps, who ticks all the boxes, is ready for the next level, but some way, somehow, somebody or a group of people may tend to intimidate the person, may tend to limit how fast the person can move, or even you, the leader, their attitude tells you that this guy just came. You don't have to fast track him. How do you deal with that? And on the back of that, if we can also look at what I call the square pegs in round holes. So I think that one, Steve has made some reference to that, if you have very good filters, they won't even come into the team at all. But just in case you have somebody like that, let's say if it was a new church that had to grow the music from scratch, and as such, it was whosoever will may come. And you have this person who has come into the team and telling you the tenor, you are teaching, and the note is a fee, and the person is singing far, is it fee, is it far? How do you move such a person from the team, considering the next level? So, Jloopz, let me start with you. If you can attempt a submission on this for me.
Your line was breaking. So you're saying somebody who just came.
So there are two things.
Again,
okay, so can you hear me now? So there are two things. There are two things. I want us to look at that elder brother syndrome, where there is somebody who, or a group of people.
I can hear.
Yeah, so a group of people who are there, playing the elder brother. There's a new kid on the block, but it's difficult for you to help the person progress, because there is that feeling that you should not, it's a Nansaya or that kind of thing. Okay, that is one part of it, and there is also the other part where maybe somebody who doesn't quite do the cut technically has filtered into the team. How do you move such a person out? Or should the person be moved out at all? Yeah. Hello, Jloopz. It looks like you're still struggling to hear.
Wow.
I'm afraid. Did you hello, Jloopz? Did you hear me?
Hello.
Right. Yeah. Are you still struggling to hear me then?
Yeah, it's breaking, but let's see. Probably if I'll understand it when it goes around, because I'm still not getting it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Are you
Let's
hearing
see.
me clearly?
Uncle Fred, let me come to you. I hope you had the analysis that I made with regards to that. And how would such situation be handled?
Well, with regards to new people coming in, and then you probably quickly exposing them, I think you would have to go back to the foundations of the team. And once the team establishes you as a fair person and have confidence in your knowledge and ability to unearth talent and things like that. If you make a decision to expose somebody earlier than everybody probably thinks is necessary,
Okay.
they will still rally behind you as a leader and who they know historically, your fairness, your knowledge, and your vision. Okay, that will not maybe completely quench the memory. Okay, but you would also need to be completely sure as a leader, if you were exposing somebody like that, that they're ready and not just ready for technical exposition, but ready attitudinally.
Okay.
Because if you have a scenario where there's memory, and then the person also doesn't help by displaying terrible attitude, then you would be in a major pickle, as you English folk would say. you know. But yeah, so I am very. I mean, that usually doesn't happen. We at our assembly, we're not very. We don't unduly pamper. We don't get too excited. But then, for instance, if somebody walked in and we know that, because with our churches nowadays, Charlie, we hardly get people walking in from the streets, complete novices as far as Christianity is concerned. Most people have left their churches and come to join and all that stuff. So if I know somebody's background and know that, already established worship leader, and then they come and join me, and then I feel now, maybe yeah, teacher, master, then go through this process, do that. I mean, it will be unfair, and it might kill, something within them. I'll give a very, simple analogy. We all know our phenomenal minister, Ike Nano.
Yeah.
So I joined us a few years ago. Ike is somebody I had gone to listen to in concerts. Some of which I paid, gate fee to go see, and great minister of God. So he comes to my church, and it immediately I'm like, okay, let's find a way to quickly co-opt this guy, without also making him feel, it's just a cheap thing to walk in and all those things. So at a certain level, we engaged, we had certain conversations, and then we came to some kind of agreement. And now Ike is absolutely invaluable to our church's music ministry development as head of the technical team and so on and so forth. So there are people you do that with. And what helps is Ike has an amazing attitude. Ike is loving. Ike is a mentor. So, we refer to him affectionately at church as the legend. You get me? His nickname. But that kind of exposure helps. We don't just let people walk in and then start, some superstar attitude come in. No. So we check everything and we're careful. Now, with regards to the Big Brother situation, or somebody who's slipping and you want to get rid of. Our team goes beyond just the singing and the playing of instruments.
Okay.
So you might not want to get rid of a person completely from the entire group, but maybe find a way to reassign them where they're most useful. So unless they are tone deaf, if they are tone deaf, have a conversation with them and be honest. I mean, I don't think there's a better way of going about it. Because if you're not careful, then you expose yourself to people complaining, there's murmuring going on, and they themselves will not be comfortable. Okay, so have that candid conversation with them. Let them understand you mean well. And if there are any other areas that they can perform better, reassign them. But then again, it must all be done with all sensitivity, all love, and a genuine expression of like care for the person. Like, look, it's not because we want to get rid of you from the team. No. But this is what we're looking at, and it would end up being even discouraging for you. So let's walk through that process together. And sometimes you even lead that process, where if maybe there's another team within the church you have identified that they might be great hospitality oriented people. And if there's a department in the church that does amazing stuff for hospitality, maybe go speak to that department and then even get her to represent the choir on that department. There are ways to go about it, but pray to God for wisdom. Bottom line.
Wisdom. That should be the key. Minister George.
Yes, sir.
So still on the same. Now let's extend it a little bit wider. Let it include the band. Let it include the technical team, where you find most cases this happening in churches. Somebody behind the sound.
Uncle Joe.
There is somebody behind the sound, somebody behind the drum, somebody, behind the lighting, the projector, and you can see that it's a struggle. It's a square peg in a round hole. How do you deal with it?
Thank you so much. That's a very great question in here. For me, the only time I'll be compelled as a leader I'm using this word I'm very careful to use this word, but then let me use this word, to release you,
Okay.
from the space that you have been privileged to serve or function, is when I feel it's become a struggle for you to get on board to what we all collectively want to achieve. Because at the end of the day, it's a worship service, and the creative arts ministry, the creatives, everything that is connected, the stakeholders, we all work hand in hand to bring out the best production, to serve the people who have traveled a long way to come and sit in there. And so for me, it's almost like, that's why I don't joke with what we call excellence in terms of delivery. I spend time, I'm very detailed in it, so many things. So at that juncture where I feel people are not, trying to be adaptable, flexibility, you understand, to understand the times and seasons. Sometimes you need to just shift for somebody to come on board, or for us to engage, and to engage. There should be obviously a balance. You understand? One of the problems that we find in our ministries is that as the leader is bringing in somebody, probably the one who is already there hasn't been well informed and well prepared. And so I remember, in those days, I was having like 3 churches at a time to be, I'm teaching like 3 churches at a go. You enter into one church and it's like the pastor had already, somebody recommended you, and the pastor spoke with you, and then you get in there, you are coming into, pour, and then the one in charge there is not well informed, not well prepared, and all that. It's almost like your gift or your strength is coming in there to expose somebody's one way or the other, honestly, shortcomings and the weakness. So, as intelligent as I am, in time or in the process, I realized that the person hasn't been prepared or well informed. Do you understand? So within the department, anybody that we are trying to bring on board or trying to loop in to be of a help, or there's a responsibility we on us as a leader to make sure that there's a proper transition or the proper connection or placement. And there's another thing that I really want to add to that in a band, I believe in something like you don't just appoint somebody into a position like you're a bandsman or these are conversations that I've started, having with my head pastor. That going forward, say, yeah, you doing full-time musicians and all of that. You're looking at somebody who can still play the drum and still be a brand ambassador. You understand? Like we are dealing with Nord keyboards. We should be able to sit with Nord and understand that we are using Nord in our church. Our church is an international church. The church is going global, and so we're exposing some of these elements out there, and then. Sorry, I didn't hear you. This
there is on the panel.
the Nord band is here. so and then you're looking at somebody who is a guitarist and still works with the administration. So and somebody who is a drummer. Working with the youth and development or other responsibilities, you understand? So when we see a new kid on the block coming over, so the person is not so intimidated because that is not the only function. Do you understand? That the person will feel, say, oh, somebody is coming to take my role or something. There are diverse things that if we explore in people or the thing is that there should be the proper communication dialogue between the people that we work with so that we can understand the other extensive strengths that they've got and so that we can use them appropriately to bless the people that we are in charge. God has placed us.
Great. Just for the lack of time, there is a question on board I would want us to go to quickly. But Jloopz, I hope you've gotten the drift of the question now. If you can speak to it briefly, and then I will come to speak to make a contribution to that.
Yes, this thing has happened personally in so many ways in my years as music director, and I always see weak people are easily intimidated. I always so clearly it tells me who you are, because if one, you have the purpose and the objective of the ministry in mind and you believe in yourself, whoever comes on board shouldn't bother you. It's like that. Whoever comes on board shouldn't bother you. And of course, it's a praying, answering thing for me as well. I've been praying for somebody to even come and do, because what you are not doing is leaving a vacuum. So I've been praying as well. So whoever comes and you fight us, you are Satan. So I fight with you as the enemy. So now I talk to you, and I start praying you out. And that thing really helps. I've tried it on many occasions where I don't want to do it on my strength. Human beings have a way of interpreting things, I just pray you out. I sit and you're my prayer topic, because the work must go on and things must go. It's God loves order. Everything must be in place. And already I've given you all the time to even educate yourself all the time. We've discussed this. We've done everything for you. So if somebody else comes in who, of course, I would advise the person to be respectful, have the right attitude, like Prophet Fred said, have the right attitude and everything. If the person is doing all that and you are still a resistance, would just have to call an altar call and just make you submit to it, and you just have to leave, because it's frustrating when you've planned everything. A lot of things go into, we just don't wake up and just put up a rehearsal. We spiritually, you visualize everything before you even get to the church. Like I can visualize how administration go from my bedroom. I sit and I organize everything in my head, and everything works, and I get there, and you just display it like that. It's one of the worst things that can ever happen to me. Or if a human being can get angry, how much more God, who wants everything in his house to be in order? So this is something you need to work at as fast as possible, no matter how powerful normally those people are the powerful people in the church as well. They have the connections, they know people. So you scared that they are going to use it against you. But listen, what I always say is fight and be sacked. Fight for the good cause of something and be sacked than compromise and make things go down the drain. As soon as you are sacked there are so many illustrations in the Bible from Joseph. God is going to raise something bigger. So fight for a good cause. Get your conscience right. Get everybody in line, no matter who you are going to get in the process. If it's centered at respecting everybody and doing it with love, do it and don't care about everyone's emotion. And God would give you the strength. If you are even sacked for it or sacrificed for it, God will raise you up somewhere. And that's my testimony. I'm a testimony of that as well. So I don't do it with I do it with a clear conscience, and it always works out. Yes. So that's the radical point of it, because it's very frustrating.
So you would consider a radical spiritual approach to making sure.
But like I said, I'll talk to you. We are brothers. We'll talk. But you see, it gets to a point where no matter how you try to cover things as brothers in love, the person is still intimidated. The person is still fighting. That's how far it goes. That's where the serious radical prayers come in, and the things that God will give you strength to also overcome comes in as well. So it's not like you just hit the person, but you need the work to go on, and it should surely go on. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you. Let's look at this question that is on. I don't know if all of you can see it. So this from Kwajapia. Hello, Kwajo, Charlie, long time. So he's asking that how do we deal with church politics, especially when it starts affecting the choir in terms of what can be done, what should be done, and should not be done. I know this looks very broad. I don't know if we can speak to it briefly. First and foremost, I know if we have to go into the definition of what church politics is and all that kind of thing, it will be a long night. But can we attempt quickly? Steve, let me start with you. What would you say to this one?
You see, this Mbeah attitude is not easy. Like it's everywhere, you know. Sometimes you realize that the person has been there in the choir for a long time, and then maybe the person has never led a song before you realize somebody just comes in, and then like our boss said, something like another steps in, and then you give the microphone. The person won't understand. But one thing we should know that is ministry. It is ministry. It's not about us. And another the other side of it is that we should realize that the people that we lead comes from different backgrounds. Somebody want to give a position to somebody, for instance, in the choir, maybe as the choir mother or the choir father or leader or something. You realize that some people, those are the only space that they tend to become leaders. So they project it to everything. So when they see somebody come into that space, it creates a problem. Okay. And so, like they all said, we should call the people and talk to the person. Because if you don't take care, jealousy will step in. And we all know what jealousy did in the Bible, because Saul killed 10,000 people, over 10,000 prophets, the whole Israel over a second verse of a song. Saul killed 1,000, he killed 10,000. You know what happened. And so we should be able to talk to the people, like our brother said, talk to the people and let them understand that it's not about them. Because this business, because these people are becoming too personal when it comes to positions in the church. And it's like my ministry. Nobody has a ministry. The ministry comes from God. It's not, don't personalize it like that. You don't do things like that. And so if you don't take it, then politics sets in that I'm Mbeah first. And people say that I remember somebody told me that he has been in the choir for about 12 years. I'm never giving the the person the microphone to lead. This person just steps in and now I'm at the microphone. You don't just understand. It is not about us. It is about the Holy Spirit. It's about the glory of God. That's the end product. So when we don't understand some of these structures, it creates a whole lot of problems. You get that, Danny?
So you would say that there has to be structure. There has to be a clear structure.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm saying that for what you're saying is that there has to be structure, and people should get or kill that attitude of jealousy in order for us to deal with it. Uncle Fred, speak to this briefly for me, and then let's touch on other points. What would you say can be done in terms of where some form of politics begin to affect the effectiveness of the music department?
Well, I think it's important that you have very candid conversations. Sometimes we allow certain things to go on too long, and then it becomes a situation. You get me?
Okay.
So make sure it's a very decent relationship between yourself and senior pastor and other leadership in the church. And so if there's anything coming up that has the potential to derail whatever agenda you have set in motion, then you should be able to quickly engage them and say, hey, this and this and this is what's happening. And in light, in the context of the whole church politics thing, I am sure most often, senior pastors and others may be involved. But then when you engage them quick enough, they might give you another perspective of what we see as politics, and allow the opportunity to have a very genuine, candid conversation. My experience, I've been through all kinds of it, where sometimes there's a stake, you guys on one side and church leadership on the other side,
right,
and you're all still there and trying to work, and there's a lot of and you don't know what's going on, and this and this and that, and you pull a string, somebody goes behind. And then when the people you're leading realize that, they actually play to that.
Okay.
So somebody might come and tell you, oh, even pastor said this and that, and it will be a lie. But they know that there's a rift going on, there's a politics, some kind of politics going on, and so people will play that to the advantage. If they mean to be funny like that. So I think engaging is important very quickly. The politics here, it would always be there. We're a human institution, a bubble, and those dynamics would always be out there. But you would have to have that clear conscience to deal with whatever issues. And then generally, you can find out where they are, and if it's not going to be helpful, then you can advise yourself and have that very quick, candid conversation and then bow out nicely rather than hang on. And, tensions and emotions and all that are just being wasted for no reason. Absolutely not necessary.
Not necessary.
Yeah.
Not necessary. That's very good. Kwadwo, I hope your question has been answered. Just for the lack of time, I want us to move on very quickly. There are two areas I want us to touch quickly, and then we'll wrap this up. I would like to thank you very much once again for your time and for you for watching and spending time with us. I hope that it's been a blessing to you. Now, one thing that has been personally on my heart, and for those who follow me, and I've done so over the years with my work on radio and social media, and those, and they hear me talk about it a lot, and that is the issue of people who are part of the music team who then go on to become maybe recording artists, or who go out to get into some form of a public ministry outside the four walls of the church. How do we support such people? Because what I've realized sometimes is that you get people who become or who were part of the music team, then they step up to do other things that takes them outside the four walls of the church, and eventually they either maybe leave to join another church, or they stop the whole music department thing altogether and then they sit down. So how do we support such people? Jloopz, let me start with you, and I'll go to George.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, Jloopz. Yeah.
Yeah, please the question again. So sorry. So sorry.
No worries. I was asking how do we support people who become recording artists out of our midst and take their music to the outside the four walls of the church. Sometimes these people get into all sort of conflicts, and they may either leave the church to join another church, or they even stop, singing with the main team altogether. How do we support such people?
The word support there, I'm trying to fight that word support, because at the start of everything, the church found you and nurtured you. You used the position of the stage to gather all the experiences from praise and worship. Of course, praise and worship, to the music director also gave you the chance and believed in you. And so you gathered up all those experiences and realized that. And at the end of the day, I still have a problem with the influence. Why everyone who can sing well lately wants to go into having their own ministries and everything, because I have my reservations there as well. I feel it's not for everyone, but it's become a norm that everyone wants to. Oh, you can sing. Oh, you do well. Hey, now we're single. Then the person is like, hey, person goes home and thinks about the whole month and wakes up and always comes with, the Lord spoke to me that I should always have an album. I should also have an album or a single and preamble for most. I'm not saying that's what everyone, but from the few people I've tried to contact, most of them have said no vividly, because I know they respect me and I feel they are not ready enough for. But it's now like a preamble. Everyone goes with a tide. Like, you need to, that should be your next point of ministry, which I disagree completely, because, and most of them have still, and I always say, because that's how come they go out there and the stagnancy ratio just catches them up, because they haven't really ripened up yet to experience the fullness. It's a whole package. You can't just go and exhibit half or quarter of it. It's I've been there, so I know what I'm talking about. You can't just wake up, even with a musician or a keyboardist point of view, that I've learned some few chords, so I'm going to make things happen. The tide will swallow you up, because you are not embodied as one. I'm trying to base on these things out, even getting out this advice as well for anyone who is thinking of doing that, to analyze himself and really hear the voice of God. If you hear the voice of God, it's fine. But so the stage made, the church made you, the music director believed in you, we pushed everything in you. Now, the first problem is the medium of communicating, how you left, or how you are planning to leave, how you are planning to get your ministry. Are you still going to come to church and base church as, I have few examples of people, like somebody like Luigi, like it's to get him even on a Sunday. Why? Because he wants to play his role. At least he has to do one service at church before he goes on to do other things. There are sometimes he would tell the music director or the vocal head, far enough, a week before rehearsal. So I don't even plan with you in my head. And this are scenarios, real-time scenarios, where you've planned and you have this person there, and in some few minutes to a rehearsal, the person comes and says, I have a ministration here, or I have to sing here, or I'm recording here, and I need your blessings and things. It's very, very frustrating. I'm trying to go out of the book and talk out of experience. So how you do it is a problem. How you doing? Are you doing it with speed? Are you doing it with still the church in mind? Are you doing it out of, no, now I think I'm there, I don't need the support of the pastor, I don't need the support of the music director, I can do it all by myself. So with that support you said there would linger a little bit, because if you do it well, knowing that you have the support of the church, you release a single, the church place it, you have your concert, like everything you do musically has a role in the church schedule. there I can support you 100%. You get what I'm saying? Like, you are in the role. But if you are living out of, because you are better than everybody in the choir, and now you think that you and there are real-time people who do that now. They have a single, so they can't sing with people. The praise and worship leaders, they used to sing. How? Like, all of a sudden, their voice is on another level. The band doesn't even play the chords that support their music. Like, out of the blues, what changed? Like, what just happened to you? There, my support will be prayer. That's what I can do for you at that point. I'll just pray that whatever happens, if it's really God's will, God should take you to the top, and God should vindicate how far you go and your consistency. But if it's not God's will, God should bring you back like a Jonah for you to go through the processes that you need to get you to the next level if it's God's will. So that's what I can say.
That's what I mean. I like what you said, where you have looked at it from a two-way or two-tier approach. The support should not be just what my music department is doing to support me, but it should also be what you are also doing to also support. Are you giving enough notices? Are you putting the church and the music team in the whole scheme of things? George, do you agree with what Jloopz have said quickly before you?
Yes, I believe in everything that my bosses are saying. Personally, I am trying to capture some few thoughts into writing, as in trying to capture some ideas into a book. And one of the areas that I'm dealing with is that I wrote something like they bite the hands that fed them. You understand? People in church or in the ministry at certain time think that they have gotten to a place whereby they think that they can exit at any time. Do you understand? Or they can do whatever they want to do. It's so nice to extend your ministry in a wider context, touching lives, touching other people, reaching out to other people. But I always talk about when the relationship it's not right, there's still going to be a problem. Dealing with I'm also trying to read about people's management and talent management, the creative people in our groups, how to handle and how to manage all these sort of people that we come across them. You understand? For me, there's a gentleman in London called Minister Cheko. Yeah. Fantastic man. You understand? Fantastic man. You understand? What it is that what I've studied about this gentleman is that he makes sure that he's really identified with the church. You understand? Church, or you need to belong to a church before this thing artist or star thing comes in. You can be the star roaming all over the place, but do you have an altar that speaks for you? Do you have a place of worship? Do you belong to a place, a church? And that is one thing that we are rushing to be out there, but we don't have a place that we are even fed, or where we are being transformed. And so the courses they get out there, the success begin to come. Now arrogance sets in, complacency now also jumps in, and then failure. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because they didn't understand what we call the process, which will help them, carry up the weight of what comes out, the aftermath. You understand? So for me, I think that people should learn to engage or to have the right relationship with whoever they are serving under, as in the leaders, relating with them well, sharing some of their dreams, their vision and all that. And knowledge is very, very important. You the one who is looking forward, trying to go out there, trying to come up with a song. There are some of the stuff probably your leader might know. He could, try to expose. Sorry, my earpiece got off. Try to expose you to certain areas that will be helpful to you. But when the relationship is not right, probably we will just leave you, and you can just go. You can go and do your whole out there. But you've forgotten that having that opportunity to be standing in front of that stage leading songs, I was trying to also help you to use that environment as a means of what growing, or defeating some of your fears, learning some of the some experience that surrounds what the ministry. We need to come back to appreciate the space that we even thrives, or the space that we even set, before we begin to think of rushing out there to be doing that. So
Okay.
I want to just let us understand that the relationship with you and your leader is very, very key.
So relate.
Yeah, it's very, very key.
So quickly, you happen to have one of the current gospel stars in Ghana in your church, and you are actually his music director. I mean, he said it a lot of times, and he's quoted you. He calls you his music director. Koda is in your church. Koda is you are the music director for Koda. How, from your perspective, how are you, or how is your department able to support what he does as the music icon that people have known him to be now, or people know him to be now?
I believe that it comes back to your personal understanding on certain things. Koda, for instance, is my senior brother, and I shouldn't be jealous of where God has taken him. As a music director, I should be able to help him. Like about a few weeks ago, we were discussing that he's coming out with a new album. I think it's out there. You could even see the title and all those things. But I was telling that I think it's important you come and sing it in the church first. And you should understand that when some people get into that pedestal, you can't expect them in church every Sunday. Like Israel was saying when he was with Lakewood, he was saying that though he was full-time, they were paying him as a full-time minister, he was actually supposed to be in church twice in a month. But the rest of the times he handled the rest of the stuff outside the conference of the church. So we should be able to understand them that, okay, this is where God has taken it. It's different from somebody who is like all my brothers are saying, starting afresh is different. You have an established somebody in the church. And sometimes it has to go with some of my instrumentalists as well. But we have to come to a balance where you understand that this is what God has called him, and you also support him in a way. You understand? When God is always in town, you always come to church. When it's something, you should be able to support that. That's what I think.
Okay.
Please, you understand?
I understand you perfectly. That is very, very, very well said. And I think it's crucial and important for all the submissions that you've done with what I asked, that people recognize that it's a two-way thing. The relationship is key as you journey across, and also, it comes back to attitude, I think, as well. Like Steve-O, you said, there has to be that attitude where there is like a mutual submission to your music director, whoever you may be. And I mean, with Koda, I salute him any day. One of the finest gentlemen I've known. I think time is up for us to bring the discussion to a close, but I think that I would want this last one to be touched on. And Uncle Fred, I'm going to come to you. You are the president of a large music team, and I know you have vast experience. You've stayed here in London, and you've been resident in Ghana and done this for a while. My brothers can contribute to it briefly if they so wish before we go off. But I want to ask this question: why is it that whenever there is an example of sexual immorality, especially if the pastor is preaching and he wants to talk about sexual immorality and give an example, the places that they would turn to will be the choir, the band? Why is it that always this particular issue, I know it's a touchy issue, but why is it that it's always associated with the music department?
Okay, well, there's a history to that. narrative.
Okay.
And I feel over the period, a lot has changed, but the psychology hasn't really gone away. So years ago, when we were growing up, I mean, the guys who came to play band in our churches were, shovel guys. I mean, he could have gone to play some wakekeeping the day before, had his appetition, all that stuff, and then come in the following Sunday morning to come and play. Um, it was just music they were playing. And so, with a lack of understanding that they were engaged in something highly spiritual, promiscuity was obviously not a big deal. And so, I think that's where the alignment came from. And that whole scenario has also, I mean, went on for a while. I mean, so young folk who would, I mean, I remember when I was in London, at some point, I was playing for like 3 churches every Sunday. 20, no, 50 pounds or 30 pounds or you get me? I mean, so there was no seriousness. Even the preaching in Crampono, Charlie, you don't sit down to listen. I mean, Charlie, you've come to do your job and you've gotten paid and you're out. And as musicians, we're very in touch with our sensitivities and all that stuff. So if you're not careful, your proximity to stumbling in that arena is pretty high. So but unfortunately, our teachers and our leaders and our pastors did not pull us close enough to teach and guide and lead. So they will pay you to come and deliver the music. However your lifestyle was, they didn't really care. And they would stand aloof and criticize and not help. So that whole scenario lingered on for a very long time. But I believe in our modern churches now that there's more better understanding. I don't think I hear that too much.
Right.
I don't think I hear that. I'm not saying the problem is completely off the table for conversations and things like that. But it's not obviously as far-fetched. I mean, in terms of people wanting to deal with it. You get me? So pastors now would work closely. There would usually be a music pastor who keeps an eye, make sure certain forward relationships are dealt with quickly. Conversations are had. So all of that, I believe, over the years is helping us improve that image that unfortunately we have acquired in the past. But now I think it's a lot better.
That's good news. I mean, it's refreshing to hear. And honestly, it's the very first time that I'm hearing that perspective of the psychological, the psychological history to the whole thing. And thank you very much for bringing that dimension to it. Gentlemen, let me see your last word. I mean, we time is fast, and when you start, you think that you have a lot of time, but it just goes by just like that. Let me take your final words. George, let me start with you, and then I'll go to Jloopz, Stephen, and then back to us.
Thank you so much. My final words, I want to say thank you, Dan, for bringing me onto this platform to also share this little few thoughts that I have in my head concerning what we are called to do. What would I say as final words? Just trust God and then do good to people. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Trust God and do good to people. Jloopz.
Yes, sir. I also want to say thank you for bringing me amongst my bosses. I've always seen you from a distance, and I've always respected your influence, and I've been praying for the opportunity to meet you. And with this opportunity, I'm very grateful and privileged and honored. Yes, I want to say that before you start anything, just have a conviction in your heart. Believe in your conviction and go in. And when you go in, whatever happens, stick to it. If you don't have the answer, and you're not ready, don't go into it, because now we're in an era where you can't do things halfway. You need to go all out. Everywhere you find yourself and you believe that's where God has placed you, move in with everything in your heart. If you go with a halfway personality, it translates into what I call a curse, and God doesn't like things. So go in with the best of your ability, the best of your thoughts, and do it without the mindset of, will I be acknowledged? Will I be appreciated? Who is watching me? What's the reward system? Just do it. And at the end of the day, the God who sees in secret shall reward us, and says all other things shall be added. So that's so just go in, no matter what, just do it from your heart. And that day will come where you be rewarded by God Himself.
Wow. Thanks very much, Jloopz. And I should say that the opportunity to meet you is one I don't take lightly as well. I have been following your when you used to host your DJ live show, and every time I will be on there, I will be watching and be following your content. So God richly bless you, and I'm so honored to be able to connect with you. I've lost the connection to Stephen. I hope he comes on before. But Uncle Fred, what will be your final words on this one?
Yeah, just like everybody else, it's an amazing privilege. Thank you so much, and really nice to see you guys as well. I see myself completely unnumbered here. Like a TBC bias, like it's all good. But yeah, I hope we do get to connect a lot more. And I know Danny is stuck in London, but for those of you here, copy on me anytime. Let's sit and have a conversation. I think I've learned a lot myself with this short conversation. My last words to my fellow music directors out there: you work under visionary. There's an umbrella you work under. Make sure you are aligned. If you're not, and you don't agree to certain things, and it's possible to engage and have conversations, do so. If it's not working, then make the exit, but do it with all dignity and make sure you follow through as the Bible teaches us, with all the principles applied, so that you don't walk out with any curses hanging over your head and all those things. But it's important that we engage our leadership and make sure we're constantly aligned with what visions they have and where the vision is going. You can't have your pastor wanting to go north and then you pulling the music department south. It wouldn't work. So it's important that we align constantly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm so grateful for your time. And I know Sunday evenings or Sundays are generally very busy times for all of you, and I'm very grateful for your time. Let me acknowledge all those who were able to join us as well. I know some of you have been in and out, and for those who watch this video later across Facebook and YouTube, God richly bless you. Anytime, I'm sure that my panel members, my guests are available to engage. You can reach out to them via social media. Their names on there. Search for them on Facebook. If there are any questions that you are not able to address, you need a choir, you are part of the choir, you're part of the music department, you are a pastor, you need some consultancy, how to get your music department structured. These are men who know what it takes, and they are very well learned. So please reach out to them. God willing, next week I will be having the copyright and intellectual property conversation, and I'm very excited to announce that prestigious lawyer A. Sankuma will be joining me. He is a very experienced man. Yeah, he is a musician, accomplished one as well, songwriter, composer. He plays all the instruments, multi-instrumentalist, and an astute lawyer, very well respected. He will be joining me. Auntie Diana Hobson will be joining me as well. She's the CEO of GH Publishing, a publishing house. An accomplished musician. I think she's a former president of Musica. She's the president of Gamu. She's into all this copyright space. And artist manager, Dr. Kosienes will be joining me, as well as broadcaster Nino. So it will be an amazing time next week, God willing. Make sure you join me. And for all of you who have been here, your comments, I see you. Uncle Sidney Franklin, Pia Martin, Helena, Renata, AC Rabbles, Mr. Lamo, all of you. Nana Kokudia, you watched that from Denmark. Thank you very much for doing so. Pastor Martin, Asari Yabua from Portes PT, and all of you, thank you very much. So, gentlemen, God really bless you, and I hope that we will gather some other time. Please, the coffee, when you are meeting for the coffee, let me know. Maybe I might fly down and be part of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, right. God
bless you.
All right, sir. Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
We dear your Fofra Bejaso Aseda KK Mensah featuring Coda. Wait me a tier or Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, Deezer, Boom Play, any digital platforms in our song. But modern so beko YouTube no akosha see that video you know subscribe. Memory if you bit me a download your free digital stores na. Eya Sida KK Mensah any Coda. Asido ye di menyankopon.
Ago midindi abeku Agri Santana eye mani JP sa me babeka eye Pay Angel money transfer ho asem acho ani Pay Angel money transfer we eye money transfer sonko a ewo UK ewo Europe babia te say Italy, France, Germany, Netherlands, and even Canada. Now we any money transfer ubetumi asend sika e de akoma wabusuafo ewo Ghana na usend sika na one ebetumi akogu omu mobile wallet mu se eye MTN Momo, Airtel Tigo Cash, Vodafone Cash, and now say ode kon bank account mu direct. Pay Angel money transfer. Any money transfer, so we'll send it the Akko Ghana. Nipa obe receive or send to any life insurance cover up to 4,000 Ghana cedis. Pay Angel money transfer. Any money transfer, ube to me use with debit card, and now credit card, and now bank transfer. A transfer sika, and the Akko would offer no wishing for Ewo Ghana. Pay Angel money transfer. Any money transfer, ube to me to your bills, Ewo Ghana. Say electricity, say a utility. Via ubetumi use Pay Angel money transfer any etia bills via fees via ana dues via and DJ Samba kwa eka Pay Angel hono say ubetumi edi Pay Angel amani sika edi akoye bibia wo pesa we e wo Ghana na DJ Sam kra ehwam a obia ka say Pay Angel ayesronko and he say would send this sika ekoma obia e wo Ghana through Pay Angel eye free unti ahwe
Pay Angel, Africa's pay expert. Pay Angel, send mama and papa some money. Pay Angel.
Adum shito delight. Shito ne de say. Hey, what can no share? One can share ya, but more than so obejodi. So call Ghana shop abusa Adum shito delight. So peneduo to a phrase 07985279891. No more rain fee. Say Adum shito delight in Kenya in the one. In CPC.